Well, you could say that Nordic Workplace is actually the prime spot to meet your industry colleagues within the FM industry in Sweden. And IFMA is, of course, encouraging that sort of interaction between both buyer and supplier sides. So I think having that opportunity, not only to meet your colleagues, but also to listen to new ideas and how we push the industry forward is super important in these times with all transitions going on, the changing geoclimate and everything else. So that's why it's important to be here.
For Planon, it's really important to be here at IFMA Nordic Workplace 2025 to connect with like-minded people and being part of the industry and the people that actually make up this network of people that's really important to us and to all the partners that we're working with.
I think the most important thing for me with the Nordic Workplace, but also other IFMA events, is that we are in this together. No one of us can do it alone. Within Workplace Solutions, we say changing the world one workplace at a time. So really doing it together through the collective knowledge, but also the power of us together, doing that change, being that change, both locally and globally. And that's power of all these events, IFMA and we.
My presentation around leadership beyond hybrid is not for old school managers that wants to control, instruct and push people, but rather modern leaders that embrace the hybrid model, having people being flexible and so forth. So try to guide how do you succeed then based on empiric studies, 66 of those empiric studies around hybrid leadership. And a couple of things that I highlighted here to really succeed with your leadership is to focus and prioritize flexibility and inclusion. And then the last part is around technology, how you actually use technology in a smart way to collaborate better in a team.
Just listen to Magnus Kuchler at EY. He got a question from the audience where the question was more or less, since there is a movement back to offices, how are leadership going to organize themselves? And I really like the fact that Magnus was really clear on his stance, what he sees as a consultant all over the world in this question, because there isn't really a return to office movement. Yes, it is on a policy level, but if you look at the real attendance rate, it's flat, and it has been flat over the last years. So there is actually a widening gap between what policy says and what the organization actually does. And I think that's a big takeaway for the full industry.
What I think is truly needed today is that we need to think beyond. The message of today is also beyond energy efficiency. We can only, up until a certain level, we can reduce energy or emissions. We can avoid them using circular practices. But we need to think in negative emissions as well. Think of removable techniques. And that's really beyond, because today we only focus on how can we reduce and perhaps do a little bit of avoiding. But today's message is really about we need to think beyond. And that also takes a little bit of guts to do.
The most recent project that we have undertaken, it's called the Rise of the FM Analyst. The FM Analyst isn't a job title, but it's really a change in mindset of what the contemporary facility manager needs in terms of traits. Two of the main traits, I would say, is the ability to tell stories. And a second trait, which I think is essential, is collaboration. My key advice to FM and real estate professionals would be, one, read IFMA's research reports. That's a small plug, sorry. Another really important bit of advice would be to never stop learning.
During this year's Nordic Workplace, we have this new thing that we call the Step into the Office experience, where we have jointly with a few of IFMA's partners created an office environment with workplaces, regular desks with touch-down seating that is very nice, as well as the technological solutions that enable the visitors to understand the whole thing around wayfinding and what kind of data you could get out of workplace technology. So the theme for this year's Nordic Workplace has really been what we refer to as from theory to practice. So it is not only to be inspired and get more knowledge, but actually the participants should be able, and I hope they will feel that they have practical things they can bring back to their organizations and actually start working with already tomorrow. And also some of the more general overall topics that has been spoken of can make them and think of how to make them applicable to their own organizations. And if we've succeeded with bringing one or two such thoughts and ideas for how they can work with it in practice, I think we have been able to deliver what we wanted to.
The beauty of innovation is that it's constantly changing. It is applying existing technology in a different way, in a different market, which we call innovation. Currently looking at the differences in AI, or the differences that AI is making in all the other markets, slowly dribbles over to our market as well. So that is going to be a major part of it. So events like this, where they give the presentations about what the market is doing and how it's evolving, is very important to us to get that information into the innovation lab and for me to bring that home and say, okay, we've seen this, how can we tie in with that if the market is really going into that direction, and start the researches on those topics as well.
In real estate, it's always been about location, 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 but then also experience, experience, experience. For occupiers to be able to attract and retain talent and to make the most out of the talent that they have within their organization, I think it's very important that the location, yes, it needs to be right, because the more right the location is, the larger is the talent pool that you're able to attract.
In the Oasis room, we also invite participants from the conference to come, calm down, slow down, reflect. We've actually hosted a few meditations here. One takeaway is that we need more brain-friendly rooms and meetings. It's complex, but it's easy to actually make happen in real life, in meeting rooms, now, today.
When you bring nature into your workplace, people are more happy and more productive. The business will thrive if you have happy people at your workplace. We have integrated the plants with the furniture. So when you go to your office, and then you can feel the greenery right by your side.
As a IFMA Sweden board member for 2026, I think that we very much would look into whatever we got from this new setup of Nordic Workplace 2025 and see what we can improve, but also keep. I hope everyone leaves this place inspired, and perhaps with some new FM friends. That's what I hope you do get from this Nordic Workplace 2025.